There you go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blow the Whistle Sports. I'm your host, Wayne Holloway, and thank you once again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. And like always, if you want to see something on the show or you have some type of great idea that you want to see us implement on the show, drop them in the comments or hit us in our DMs. Holler at us, we holler back. And it's 7 o'clock on a Wednesday, and I'm feeling great. You guys know why I'm feeling great, but I'm going to save that for the show. I don't want to hold it up any longer. Please let me introduce my co-host, Mr. Steven Rubain. How you doing, sir?
I'm feeling great too. I think this is the first time in years on the show that we both had amazing weeks in our football teams. I can't recall ever.
Hey, it was something. It was something else. You know, I went to the stadium.
You were at the stadium.
Oh man, it was an experience. I sat behind my team. I saw everybody with the smiles on their face. I saw the energy on the field, and most of all, you know what?
What's that?
I saw my young quarterback right next to Andy Dalton. Every move he made, learning and soaking it up.
So for those who don't know, he went to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas to watch the Panthers play against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Woo!
So for those who aren't that familiar with football fans, the Raider fans are the second worst fans in football behind the Cowboys, because when they're winning, they talk a whole lot. But when they're losing, they put their heads down, they seem tired, it's a whole different world. So
they still had they heart behind them. You know, they I understand they have a culture over there, and they live by it.
They live by the culture.
But I have to thank them for the hospitality, all Raiders fans, because that Raiders stadium was excellent, Steve.
Yeah. Well, hey, it was a smart move for them to leave that horrible stadium in Oakland to go to Las Vegas. Big move on their part. So,
but whoever designed this stadium, my hat goes off to them, because my goodness, it was wonderful over there, man.
Well, think about it, though. You know, in Las Vegas, they got those 100, 115, 120 degrees. You go in that nice 72-degree stadium, nice dome, made beautifully. I mean, it just looks like a state of the art.
But this is the only stadium that I ever been in that was built to where the atmosphere was just perfect.
Yeah.
You're not uncomfortable. The seats are not squished in. I've been to a lot of stadiums where the seats weren't comfortable. You know, I'm glad they got rid of that Charger Stadium.
Oh yes.
Oh, their seats were
horrible,
and they were outdated. They were outdated, but Raiders seats are good and Cowboy seats are good.
Yes.
But the Raiders stadium, it's always going to be a good game. The players are always going to feel good. It's not going to be any over sweating because the air conditioner is blowing.
Beautiful, yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's wonderful.
It's a great ambiance. I'm glad, but you would have been sweating a little bit if Panthers didn't do so well. So I think the fact that the Panthers did so well kept you a little cooler.
Hey, Andy Dalton, thank you, sir. Shout out to the Red Rifle out there. He came out and did his thing.
And the thing was, he did it from the first drive, from the first play. You can just tell it was a whole different Panther team.
His mindset,
mindset.
But that lets you that just goes to show, jumping into it and jumping into the major topic of the 24-25 season of the NFL season. Mindset. Andy Dalton came in there. He's been sitting on the sideline, ready to play, and all this does is juice Bryce Young up. Don't get me wrong.
Okay,
the young man played horrible for the first 2 games. First
18 games.
Well, I don't fault anybody for going through 2 coaching staffs in one season and just being drafted. You didn't choose to go here. You got drafted here, you got drafted into a certain situation.
Right. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get all into that, because that's gonna be our topic of the day: is franchise quarterback compared to system quarterback.
Yeah.
And we're gonna explain to you.
And I see the little faulty smile you got.
You know, I'm gonna explain to you why Bryce Young at this point is nothing but a system quarterback. and
my goodness,
and I'm going to prove it through statistics. So
here we
go.
But
let's get to the news first, because we do got some playoffs going on. So first, let's do the WNBA, because they are in the middle of their playoffs. So the first round, we had the Liberty knocked off the Atlanta Dream 2-0. We have the Las Vegas Aces knocked off the Storm 2-0. We have, and this was the big surprise one, was the Sun knocked off Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Knocked off, not the
two games, 2 bad games, and she's out.
Wow.
Old WT.
Hey,
and then
it's a learning lesson.
Yeah, then the last series still going on. The Lynx are up 1-0, and they're playing right now against the Phoenix Mercury. So we'll see what happens to that game tonight. But yeah, that was a big blow to the WNBA, losing who they thought was going to be the person who would bring the ratings up for the playoffs, Caitlin Clark. So we'll see. They're going to have, still got some great veteran players, but not having Clark or Reese.
It's a team sport, Steve. It's a team sport.
I know, but
she can't do it all by herself.
Can't do it all by herself. So they're going to see who they get in the off season and how they build around her next year. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll keep you next week. The second round, we'll tell you how things are going there. But baseball is in its final week, and so let's go talk about first. Did you catch any of that Ohtani last week? What he did when he went 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 3 doubles.
I watched the
2
highlight.
stolen bases.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched the highlight on that.
Well, I actually caught on towards the end of the game, so I watched the last 2 home runs and the stolen base. But that was the second greatest day performance by a baseball player in the history of Major League Baseball. The only one that I have to still stay at number 1 was when Reggie Jackson hit those 3 home runs in the World Series to win the series against the Dodgers, only because of the gravity of the moment. When you go over your first 3 bats, first 3 pitches, home runs to win the World Series, you can't have a better day than that. And he'll ever go down in history for the greatest day in the history of baseball for a player. But Ohtani definitely will be second. While Ohtani did more, it wasn't a game that was of serious significance. That winning the World Series, that just can't get any better than that, especially in New York City. So great game. Let's see what baseball does with Ohtani. I mean, he should be in the same realm as the Tom Brady's, the Lionel Messi's. He should be a super.
Wait.
Japan,
how long has he been around, Steve?
He's been around 7-8 years. He's not a rookie. At this point, he should be in the same realm as far as marketing, as far as his impact in sports in general,
right?
As Brady, as Messi, as all these other players, LeBron Jameses, who get all the commercials, get all the hype.
But they don't market baseball.
But that's what I'm saying. This is now baseball. Now has somebody. He's proven. He's on the field. He's shown he should be elite. Now baseball has to figure out, because I know, of course, they're going to use the language barrier as an excuse. But you can do commercials where he can just be in it, don't have to say nothing, and have somebody do the words, as long as he's being seen. So we'll see.
But that was a thing with Yao Ming. Yao Ming could speak English,
right?
And they used to think that he couldn't speak English.
Exactly.
And he didn't even get marketed.
He didn't get marketed right either. But that was a different NBA then. I think if Yao Ming was around today, he would be getting a lot more commercials and attention than he did back then. Back then it was Jordan all the time. So it's a different time now. But yeah, right now the NBA does a great job marketing their players, and so baseball got to catch up. You got a superstar there in Ohtani, and like I said, outside of LA and outside of Japan, he's still considered just to be just another baseball player.
They better do it right.
Better do it right. So that's my baseball. So right now, looks like the Yankees, Guardians, and Astros are going to be the division winners in the American League. You got the Phillies, Braves, and Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers only have a 2-game lead on the Padres, so that's the only division where there's still a little question marks as to who's going to win that division.
Right.
Then we got the Orioles, Royals, and Tigers leading the American League wild card. And you got like I said, Padres, Mets, and then the Diamondbacks and Braves are fighting for the last wild card spot in baseball. So we'll see. We got like 4 more games left. Let's see how it plays out. All right, so that's baseball. Got to get right to football. Let's get right to it because we got a lot of football to go over. So let's get the minimal stuff out the way. Thursday night, I know you guys are Aaron freaking Rodgers. Aaron freaking Rodgers. He's back. He beats the Patriots, and everybody's like, "Oh, this
Let
is
me
the Aaron
stop you
Rodgers."
there because it sounds like you want to put some stank on it. There's nothing you can say.
Man,
24-3.
He beat the Patriots. Come on now.
24-3.
He was serviceable. Let's not get crazy now. He wasn't like doing amazing plays to devastate the game. He played a solid game. He made the plays that need to be made, but it wasn't like he wasn't Jaden Daniels. Let's just say it like that.
27 out of 35, 281 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's just
Aaron freaking Rodgers.
A solid game. Like I said, he had a nice game. It wasn't
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron freaking Rodgers.
All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Good game, Aaron. Let's see how you do this week.
Oh, you said good game?
Good game.
I'm proud of you, Steve. You.
I said good game, and let's see how he does next week.
Okay.
All right. Next
proud
week.
Of you.
Yeah.
You gave him something.
I gave him a little props. I said he had a good game. 40 was he now 40 years old? How old is he?
Hey.
So at 40 to come on and do that, hey.
And
good for him.
What I want to point out to people, he did it through the air, but he wasn't selfish.
Right.
He had Breece Hall, 16 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown, averaging 3.3 yards a carry. And what's this? Braylon Allen? Is that his name?
Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen, 11 carries for 55 yards, averaging 5 yards a carry. And then Aaron Rodgers even did a little bit with 3 carries himself for 18 yards.
Right. No, it was a complete game. Like I said, I think the biggest question was the first 2 games, the Patriots looked like they might be a lot better than people thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then reality stepped back in, and it's like, they're going to be the team we thought they were. They might be the worst team. If not for the Raiders, Patriots might be the worst team in the NFL.
Not for the Raiders.
The Raiders, right now, the Raiders
is nowhere near the worst team. They beat Baltimore.
No.
The Raiders have enough heart to step up in there and take it from anybody at any given day.
Well, we'll see.
They beat Baltimore. That proves it.
Well, like I said, don't even get me started on Baltimore because we're going to get to them in a few minutes.
There's a bunch of teams that's worse than the Raiders.
Who?
Jacksonville, worse than the Raiders.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Tennessee Titans, worse than the Raiders.
I don't know.
Denver Broncos, worse than the Raiders.
No. The Broncos look really good. They look really good this week.
Chicago Bears?
Bears, maybe. Bears, maybe. Who else?
San Francisco 49ers. Should they even be on that list?
What? You got the Raiders, the 49ers is the worst team in the league?
I'm saying, should they be on the list?
No, because
they have the same record as the Raiders.
Because they have numerous injuries. What injuries do the Raiders have? Raiders right now, they have almost their whole team intact. 49ers, their top running back and their top second best receiver was out.
Joe Burrow, they got a worse record than the Raiders.
Hey,
0-3.
We're gonna get to them in a second. Hold on. We're gonna hold on.
I'm only pointing out because you tried to put the Raiders on blast.
I'm putting on blast.
Even though it's a team that we just went in there and put hands on.
I'm putting them on blast.
I don't think they're as bad as what you're saying.
They got questions. Let's just leave it at that. The defense has questions, and right now they got a quarterback controversy. So we'll get to them in a few minutes because I know you're just dying to get to your Panthers. But
I didn't say anything, Steve.
I know.
I'm just sitting here.
You're holding off. You're being patient.
I'm just sitting here letting it go through.
We know.
We going back and forth. We talking about a few things. I'm not worried.
You worried?
I'm not worried at
all.
Oh
my goodness, you need to be worried. But we're gonna get to them because I know you got a whole segment to get into on the Panthers. But let's talk about some of these other games. Let's talk about ex-Panther Sam Darnold, who right now is in the MVP running. Sam Darnold has been tremendous the first 3 weeks of the season. They went out to Houston, a game that many people had picked the Texans to win. The game was in Minnesota, forgive me. Minnesota went on and took care of the Texans 34-7. Nobody saw that. You might have saw the Vikings winning, but nobody saw 34-7. Nobody saw Sam Darnold doing what he did. So
that's because people have been down on Sam Darnold like they've been down on Bryce Young.
Yeah, right.
They said Sam Darnold was trash when he was with the Jets.
Right.
They said Sam Darnold was trash when he came to Carolina. They said Sam Darnold ain't gonna be nothing but trash. But guess what? All y'all wrong.
Okay, with that.
All of y'all.
All right, with that. Hey,
all of y'all.
And Sam Darnold's only 27, so relative speaking, he's where he's supposed to be. If it was not for the fact that the Jets and Carolina messed with him, he's where he should be now.
Oh, they mess with him.
They mess with him. Yeah,
How they mess with him?
Well, number one, the Jets used him wrong. They didn't give him the piece around.
Oh, so you understand that type of stuff now?
No, but I said I've always understood it.
Well, okay.
Remember.
It just seems like you get a little amnesia when it comes to Bryce Young.
I'm the one who said Bryce Young never should have been on the field last year. Bryce Young should have never started from game one. I said Andy Dalton should have been the starter, and you said, "Well, the only way he's going to get better if he plays." I said that team is garbage. They have no weapons to give to that man.
That was incorrect.
That is not true. Go back and play the tape.
We can go back and play the tape. Before he stepped on the field, I said Bryce Young is a work in progress.
And I said he never should have said it on the field.
Me and you both agreed that Bryce Young should have been mentored instead of thrust into the and thrown to the wolves.
So you can't sit there and say that I didn't agree with that. I agree with you 100%. He never should have started.
Okay.
I would have never had him on the field with that team that they had. And it ruins his confidence. But the problem now, though, is that he's not the player that they drafted. He's not.
So wait. Are we going into?
No, we're going to get to that.
Team? Well, don't throw little tidbits if I'm not going to be.
I'm doing teasers.
Let's recap.
These are what we call teasers. I'm just teasing people.
Let's recap what's going on. Now we done went over Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Okay.
Impeccable.
And Sam Darnold.
And what he did.
Sam Darnold.
And we went over Sam Darnold. Let's go somewhere where we need to put in focus, which is Baltimore and Dallas. We need to go check out what's going on over there, Steve.
What's going on in Dallas is the usual dissension. Dallas has all kind of dissension going on. I mean, it's a dumpster fire, and I've been saying this year after year that the most overhyped team, America's team, blah blah blah, and every year they let their fan base down. They went out there against the Ravens and put up a stinker in the first half, just an absolute stinker of the first half. Second half, the Ravens I don't know. The Ravens just don't know what they want to do with themselves. They just second half decided they're going to shut it down and let the Cowboys try and make a comeback and bring it all the way up to the fact that came down to a one possession game at the end.
I can tell you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was in the beginning, maybe they heard the hype. Maybe the coach listened to the show because they actually played a well-rounded game.
Yeah.
They did what they were supposed to do. They finally learned how to use their pieces. So Derrick Henry had 25 carries for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And who said from day one, I said I never understood the first 2 games, that man needs 25 carries a game. That's Derrick Henry. You give him the ball 25 times, you're going to win.
Understandable. But like I said, it's been a me thing over there. Or
Lamar Jackson.
The coach calls the plays. Is he calling the plays for Lamar Jackson to put it all on his back early this season?
I think Lamar Jackson has the freedom to, if he sees some breakdown, he can just take off and run. He doesn't have to stick with the coach's plan. So that's where the problem lies, that he has that that green light to go ahead and improvise.
Well, I'm gonna put this out here, and I don't want to sound like a broken record.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson is a premier quarterback on a premier team. This team is a Super Bowl winning team.
Should be.
Should
be a Super Bowl winning team.
Well, I was going to put that stipulation at the end because they have all the talent. They have what they need. The problem is they use their special weapon too much. They wear the special weapon out to where when they need it, he has nothing else left to give.
Do they use him too much, or does he use himself? He has to ultimately run the show. You can have coaching, you can put an offensive coordinator. Ultimately, the quarterback has to be the one to dictate how the show is going to run. And too much Lamar Jackson, when something breaks down, he just wants to put it into his own hands and wants to play Superman ball.
I agree with that to a certain degree. I believe that certain things the coaches should step in and they should be in control of. They should know how to calm their man down and let them know, like, man, look, we're giving you the reins.
Okay, but you got to be coachable.
When you see something break down, but
But you got to be coachable. In order to say that, you got to be somebody who, first of all, has leadership that you are able to accept coaching. Do you ever see Lamar Jackson over there next to the coach going over things and working things out? No. You watch when they're on the sideline, Lamar Jackson sitting on the bench, chilling, not doing nothing. He's not looking at the teleprompters they use now. I guess now they use the iPads.
The pads.
He's not using the iPads. He's not going over there, talking to other players. He's sitting on the bench, just chilling. Say, when's my next time out there?
And you know what?
So when you have that leadership,
I totally agree with that assessment. I really do see that. But some people prepare in a different way.
Well, no.
I don't know.
You're the franchise player. You're the highest paid player on your team. You can't do it a different way. You got to be the rah guy. I'm not going to get to Andy Dalton yet, but Andy Dalton, when he was out there, he was all over the place. He was coaching up. He was coaching up Bryce Young. He was talking to other players. He was going there talking to the offensive line. You got to be that man.
That's a leader.
That's a leader. The leader got the whole team on his back and says, "Ride with me. I'm going to take you to the promised land."
And that's the thing I'm saying about
Lamar Jackson's a talent. Well, he's a talent, but is he a leader? That's the question that's going to go over his career. We know his talent. Nobody questions.
He has to be
one
to where the coach has to be able to talk to him and make him understand, look, Lamar, for the last 2 to 3 years, you've done the same thing, then your body breaks down when we get to the later games.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at it like he's the secret weapon of this team. He's the heart of this team. If this man sits in the back and picks teams apart with his wide receivers and just hands the ball off to where the defenses every week are used to him sitting in this pocket and distributing this ball. Once they make it to the playoffs, I wouldn't mind him going and doing the most because he'll be full of energy by then.
But look at them, though. They got an elite wide. I'm going to put him elite, but a very strong wide receiver.
He's elite to me.
Zay Flowers is very strong. I would almost put him elite, but not quite yet. But he's still very strong.
He's elite because of his company.
Exactly. He has 2 strong tight ends who can both catch the ball, and Likely and Andrews.
And he doesn't use Andrews right.
And he doesn't use them. And then he has Derrick Henry. That team should be lighting it up. It should be like the old, like the Patriots of the mid 2000s when he was like putting up 40-some points a game.
That team should be scared to play the Baltimore Ravens.
Exactly, because too many weapons, and then you got a quarterback who can do what he does. That team should be elite. They only get 28 points. They had 24 points, I think, at halftime. I think it was 28 to, was it like 3 or 9 or something? And then in the second half, they got shut out. They let the Cowboys come back and get 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Because they switched from what they were doing back to the same old.
And then it just kills me. I don't know what to make of that team. So, yeah, Lamar Jackson, same old Lamar. Let's see if he can finally figure it out.
It's a team that I tell anybody who's a betting person, leave that team. If that team goes in there to play somebody, that team can beat any team at any time. But it can also lose to any team at any given time because of the way they play.
Lamar Jackson, yeah, I agree. Now, a team that shows leadership is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they went into New Orleans, and New Orleans had been lighting up 40-some points a game in both games. They went out and somehow pulled out a squeaker of a low-scoring game. Nobody saw this being low-scoring with the Eagles and the Saints. Both teams had been putting up 30, 40 points a game.
Now, Philly, that's a team.
Yeah, but the thing, though, is they know how to win either way. They can win high-scoring or they can win low-scoring.
But that team is bought into their coach. They believe in their
bought
coach,
into the coach,
and they believe in their
and they believe in their running back
and the leader, Mr. Hurts over there.
Hurts is a leader because he doesn't have to do it all himself. He said, "Look, I got a great running back in Saquon Barkley. I got no problem letting him do the shine." So,
their only downfall has been the coach, and I don't understand. Coach, you got it. You got it together. Kick the field goal. You've lost 2 games over this field goal, the mystery field goal that you should have had that you never went for.
Yeah.
2 games.
I don't understand.
2 games down.
Yeah, I agree.
They would have won both of those games. Analytics is killing the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. Now, I hate analytics, so don't even go there with that. But let's talk about some teams that got some guys who are down. Man, the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson. Can somebody help that man? Is there anything they can do to pull?
I I was talking to somebody on the plane about this. I don't understand what happened to Deshaun Watson. I don't understand what happened to Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I can understand a decline in your production,
Right.
but it went from them being elite to looking like,
Okay, but the
how
difference,
did they even make it to elite?
yeah, okay, but the difference though is Russell Wilson's in his mid-30s. He's doing what should be expected of a quarterback at that stage after 12, 13 years in the league.
But
Deshaun Watson should be in his NFL prime.
okay, I guess let me explain this better.
Yeah.
Both of them look like they were in their prime a couple of years ago,
Right.
or a few years ago. But now it doesn't. We didn't even see a decline. We just seen good to what's going on.
But the thing with Russell Wilson was when he was in his 20s and he had elite movability, that made him a weapon because, not only could he throw the ball on the move accurately, but he could also run for the first down. He can't run for the first downs anymore like he used to. He used to be a running quarterback who could throw the ball. Now he's a quarterback who can't run like he used to, and so he's vulnerable.
So you're saying he lost that part of the game?
He lost a part of the game, and that was the part of the game that made him dangerous, was because at any time when he's with Seattle, he could just take off and make that 15, 20-yard run. Defenses didn't know what to do with him.
His accuracy doesn't even seem like it's there anymore.
Well, because he can't run anymore like he used to. So the accuracy goes because you're not. He's panicking. He doesn't.
Since his mobility went away, that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
that was his Achilles
heel.
That
was his Achilles heel. I mean, once you lose that, then it's just and Deshaun Watson just looks slow. I mean, if you watch Deshaun Watson at Clemson, he just had the ability at any time to go on, throw on the run away from guys.
And this makes no sense with him because he had a couple years off.
He had a couple years off, and he's come back, and it's like he has no movement whatsoever. He's just getting like sacked 8 times again. I mean, the Giants sacked him 8 times. I mean, I saw Dexter Lawrence run him from behind. He's supposed to, if he's ahead of Dexter Lawrence running, Dexter Lawrence should never be able to catch him. And I saw Dexter Lawrence just come from behind and sack him on a play where he had like about 2 steps on him. And Sean Watson couldn't move.
It's that old age thing. Well, not I wouldn't even say old age. I would say that thing where you get the money and then your ability seems to disappear with the money.
The money, whatever happened, he got that big contract. He's just not the same guy. So the Browns got a dilemma because nobody's going to trade for him, and they're pretty much stuck with him.
And I hate to say it's the money, but Jamarcus Russell. Got all that money, then came back and wasn't interested in football anymore.
Right. Well,
he only got the signing bonus as being the number 1 draft pick. He was the reason why they stopped it, right?
Right.
And they changed the deals to where now you got these 4-year deals. People should really be mad at Jamarcus.
Yeah. Don't even bring him up to me because that whole deal. I mean, that was one of Al Davis's last great regrets. Oh, he could throw the ball 80 yards on his knees. Make him a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't question character and heart. And you're
I wasn't even talking about his ability. I was talking about the getting the money and running.
But that's what I'm saying. Character and heart. You can't judge that on through a scouting. You got to talk to the guy, actually see what he's about. And I think they messed up on him in that they just assumed that he had that heart and character that would make him great, and instead,
or the people who mentored him just dropped
the ball.
Yeah, because Patrick Mahomes is not like that.
No. Well, remember, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady never were the highest paid players in the league. They never played for the money. They never sat there and put their teams, handcuffed their teams, threatening to leave if you don't pay me the money. That's never. They've always been like, hey, give the money to my other guys. Give the money to Kelsey. Give the money to Gronkowski. Let them reap the rewards.
Really enjoying the game.
I'm going to enjoy the game. I'm going to enjoy winning. Super Bowls mean more to me than having, because let's be honest. Tom Brady could have hit off the Patriots for $60 million a year 6 years ago, and he would have been worth every penny of it. And if he really wanted to, when you have 5, 6 Super Bowl rings, what are the Patriots going to tell him? No, we're not going to pay you. And so, but he said no.
He had so much charisma. He's on record saying, no, give this money, get me this player.
Exactly.
Give this money to them so I can have my player.
How much were the Patriots worth before Tom Brady was drafted? How much is the organization worth now? He's put billions of dollars into Robert Kraft's hands for what he did as a winning organization to make that franchise marketable. And he can get paid nearly as the amount that he should have got paid for how much he made for Robert Kraft.
Mm.
But he said, I'll take the 7 rings over just being greedy. And so keep that in mind. Now we got Dak Prescott, so we just talked about the Cowboys. He just got that highest paid quarterback in the league. He's on the sidelines getting into it with CD Lamb.
Was that Micah Parsons?
No. Micah Parsons, after the game, came out in the interview and said, basically threw players under the bus and said, this team has too many other things going on besides winning.
Mm.
That is, and we know who he was talking about. We know, only people he's talking about are the big names. And so it's Dak and CD. And the CD came out and apologized.
Hey, we'll take Micah Parsons and CD off your hands.
Now, CD, keep in mind, before the season started, and I mentioned about this, we had Dak worried about his extension, CeeDee Lamb holding out much of the offseason. That plays a part. But you don't have the whole team in there the whole offseason, you come out rusty, you come out looking flat. And that's what the Cowboys
I have
right
a
now.
suggestion.
What's that?
All these extensions and business should be done in the off season before the season even gets here.
Yes, sir.
I think it needs to be rearranged, like right after the draft. Business gets handled.
Right.
So when the season gets here, we shouldn't even be going through this.
Agreed.
Everything should be solidified and everybody happy to play.
Yeah, I agree. But a lot of times they use the off season as leverage. And so in the case of CD Lamb, he used it as leverage. I'm not going to play. You're going to pay me before I show you what I'm going to do. And so he got his contract, but now the team's 1-2. And
it's not his fault though.
Well, we're gonna see. Like I mentioned, we're gonna see come playoff time who steps it up this year, because we gotta assume they're gonna make the playoffs. But who's gonna step it up this year and take them to that next level? Because we've seen the story of the Cowboys making the playoffs, but we haven't seen the story of the Cowboys winning in the playoffs. You want to open up these phone lines today? How are you feeling on the phone lines?
Yeah, I think we should open the phone lines early and just leave them open and see.
Yeah, let's see what people got to say. I know some of these people out here. We got Eagle fans, we got Cowboy fans being sorrowful, Raider fans feeling sorrowful.
Let's see.
Who other games you want to talk about? I know the game you want to talk about, but
no, I want to bring into focus a team that is under the radar that many people don't talk about because they don't have the big flashy names right now, but they still figuring it out. This coach is the coach of coaches right now because Belichick is not in there right now.
I'm guessing you're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin. Goodness. And if you want to call in, please call in at 1-909-844-4443. We want to hear what you have to say.
Why do they not want to give Mike Tomlin the credit he deserved? This man, 17 years, he has won Super Bowls. He has every season finished over 500 or over. 17 straight years, the Steelers have never had a losing season with Mike Tomlin as coach. And this man just kind of gets like, well, we don't know about him.
I've even heard some Pittsburgh Steelers fans like
we can replace him.
Yeah,
we can replace him, bring somebody else in. I mean, it's just crazy.
Wow.
He's won with every type of quarterback you can have. He's won with every type of system, every type of player you can have. He just wins.
And is this a resurgence of Justin Fields?
Well,
is it
really a resurgence though? Was Justin Fields really that bad last year?
Hey, well, they made it seem like it.
I mean, they made it seem like he was, but I thought he had a pretty solid season with the Bears. I mean, the Bears had to let him go because they had already had in their mind they wanted Caleb Williams, but they might be having buyer remorse now. They might be looking at it like, man, we could have kept that. We could have traded down, kept Jordan Fields.
Well, see, the thing is, when you're dealing with a fan base is fickle and they want wins now. A lot of people don't understand mentoring and building the guy up to build what he is.
Yeah.
And getting the pieces that he needs to succeed.
I agree.
And man, I can tell you from a Carolina fan base, they hang you out to dry if the W's is not coming immediately.
W's not coming immediately. No. I mean, it's a fan bases are fickle, but that's the reason why organizations have to ignore the fan base and do what's in some
instances.
No, in every instance, that you should never listen to your fan base in making decisions.
Well, I'll put you like this: when it came to the
you got to call in.
No, that's different.
Okay.
When it came to the Washington Redskins,
Right.
you wanted your owner gone.
And then what's that? Time out. And he had to leave.
Yes, but the
We had to run him
fans,
out.
the fans had to win there.
Well, they got the fans only
in
got
some instances is what I'm saying.
The only reason the fans got the win was because it got to a point where it was no longer tolerable for him to see his owner. The other owners had to put pressure on him. He should have been gone 10 years ago. If the fan base had their way, he would have been gone in the early 2000s. But he decided he was going to play hardball, do his own thing, and then finally he just did too much and they had to go. But the ownership. Listen to me. Owners have to look at themselves and be honest about themselves. And we're going to get to your owner in a second. If you keep making bad decisions as an owner, you either need to step out of the way or sell the team.
That's an owner. That's the person who pays everybody paychecks, Steve.
Okay, but if you don't care enough about the organization you're working for that you consistently put out a losing product, and you can't see the anger and frustration of your fan base, and you're just going to sit there and just do whatever anyway.
Exactly. So in some instances, fans' voices need to be heard.
Well, they need to be heard, but you have to sit there and look at yourself. The point I'm trying to make is that ultimately you got to look at yourself and decisions you make, not look at what the fans want you to do. Because, like you said, fans are always going to be fickle. But if you sit there and year after year after year you have a losing product, then you got to look at it and say, hey, I need to get out of this. I mean, think about it. What other industry do you constantly have losing or not making money and you stay into it? If you have a restaurant and the restaurant is constantly losing money, you either sell it or you go ahead and close it down. I mean, that's business. And in any business, what other business? Right. What other business other than professional sports can you consistently put out a losing product and just constantly year after year sell the same thing over and over again? Only in professional sports.
Lathan Mahalia says, "Fly, Eagles, fly." Yeah. Nobody thought we would smack the Saints around defense.
Yeah. The defense looked better, and like I said, main thing was in Saquon bounce back. It was a bounce back week for him. Because some people were starting to give him a little heat because he dropped that pass at the end of the game on Monday night, but he made a bounce back game, so I give him credit for that. So Eagles are still in there. They're in second place behind the first place Commanders. But we're gonna talk about that.
I know you couldn't wait to say that.
I got that 1 week. I'm gonna say the first place Commanders.
Hey, you running the division right now.
Ooh, man.
The W is running the division.
We can't even wait no more. Let's get to this because on Monday night we had 2 games. This is a smart thing the NFL started to do now. A couple of weeks of the season, they're showing 2 Monday night games, and in this week.
I don't like the way they're doing it, though.
I
do not like having both games on at the same time.
I usually don't, but in this case, it was thankful because we had a stinker game, and then we had a great game.
Give me a Monday and a Tuesday then, Steve. I don't want both games together.
But
put it on Sunday if you're going to do it like that.
If you only want to show the Jaguars-Bills game, that would have been a nightmare. They would have lost all kind of ratings because that game was over in the first quarter, and there was no reason to watch that game.
I get the reality of it. If one's a stinker, you can go to the next.
Go to the next game. I would, honestly, I would like it to be 4 and 7. Do it back to back like a doubleheader, like you do on Sundays. That way, fans get both, the early game and the late game. I would like that, or at least have it where the majority of the first game is early, and then if you want to stay to that game, you can watch the end of that game and then go to the other game afterwards. But yeah. I don't like the half an hour in between. That's not cool. But anyway, we had one stinker game, like I mentioned. The Bills, those people who said Josh Allen is over with have been greatly mistaken. Who
said that?
Well, you from one person was talking about Josh Allen.
You be misquoting me. We're going to start putting some of these clips up because
we're going to have to go back.
Misquoting me badly. I said the Bills were a well-oiled machine. Now, how do you get Josh Allen?
They were the steamboat last year. You didn't come out calling them steamboat this year.
Went from well-oiled machine to the steamboat, steaming over people.
That was last year.
And you said that I said he was washed up.
I didn't say it was what I said. You said they're going to have a
You see
drop
how the
off.
stories get all mixed up.
They were going to have a drop off without having Diggs, without having Gabe Davis. That team is better than ever.
Because everybody's getting the ball.
Everybody's getting the ball. So Josh Allen, who right now is number one in the MVP rate, just ahead of Sam Darnold. So it's Allen and Darnold 1-2 as far as early MVP favorites. He was amazing against the Jags, 47-10, and it wasn't even that close. It could have been. They could have scored 70 if they wanted to.
They sat him down.
They shut him down. Which pissed off a lot of.
He was too hot to handle.
Which pissed off a lot of fantasy people because people like me who had Josh Allen on your fantasy team. It's like, man, leave that man in. He's doing.
You don't have Josh Allen on your fantasy team.
I don't
like I do.
Team. No, not like you, but I had him on one of mine.
He's on like.
He gave me a
17
win.
of my fantasy team.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, 17.
Okay, well you did it. You had a good week then because
especially with the money in all these little betting platforms.
Yeah.
How do you take my guy out?
You can't take him out.
Let him show out.
Let him show out. So he was amazing, but even more amazing was Jaden Superstar Daniels.
Oh, you wanted to do that, huh?
Oh, I couldn't wait to do that.
I like the way you segued into that
because it was amazing. Listen to me. That was the one. I'm trying to think of a better rookie performance in a primetime game in the history of the NFL. I can't think of anybody. I tried to go back and think about any situation where I could think of a rookie coming in and having a better game in primetime, in that first primetime game.
We got to give Jaden Daniels his flowers.
Listen to me.
21 to 23, 254 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And 1 rushing touchdown and 91% completion rate. It wasn't like he was just deaking and dunking. He was throwing bombs. He was throwing missiles down the field.
To me, was huge. He looked calm in the pocket.
And
he looked calm on the sidelines. And he was in control of the team. He was out there doing this thing. But hey, this is your team. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna let you say it. I like how you're saying it.
I have to give him his flowers.
I love it.
I looked at him and he looks like he's the real deal. I love when what position you playing, from quarterback to wide receiver to linebacker to corner. When you have that swag about you, when you have that knowing look in your face, where you're not scared of what's going on,
it's a beautiful thing.
Like it.
It's a beautiful thing. I told my friend, I say he's RG3 on steroids right now. He looks like RG3's rookie year, but better. And
it looks like Washington, like you guys might run
something.
that division for a change.
Right, and the crazy part was Joe Burrow had a great game. Put up Joe Burrow's stats, so you got it right there. He had a great game himself. He just was outplayed by even greater performance.
Joe Burrow, 29 out of 38, 324 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I mean, that's winning football in any league. If you put up those type of stats in any league, 324 yards, no interceptions, and 3 touchdowns, you're supposed to win the NFL.
But Joe Burrow, for the last 3 years, he's been the opposite of Russell Wilson and what's the Browns person?
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, where he's been hurt, still playing decent,
right?
But just can't get right still.
Just can't get right. And so I mean, I'm not selling them off yet. They got a big one this week that they have to win. I mean, have to win. The season's over if they don't win this week against who?
Carolina Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. They're going to be going to Carolina. Nothing could be finer. So if they don't beat the Carolina Panthers, the season is over. So that's going to be
over now.
I've circled that on the calendar because we're going to segue because I know you've been just dying to get to it. I appreciate your patience. Because I know you wanted to start the show on this, but
I don't want to start the show on it. I've been getting hounded and hounded and hounded. You don't understand. I'm the administrator of a bunch of the Carolina blogs.
Yes.
Shout out to the co-administrator to my Cali Cat Pack, my Roaring Riot, Panther Nation, all y'all. Much love to all y'all, and I'm sorry I didn't make it to the tailgate party. Got held up by sleep. I'm not gonna lie to anybody.
Sleep,
dude. Let me explain to you.
Oh my goodness!
When football season comes around, I love football so much, and then my team doing bad. You don't understand how wound up I be. I was in bed, took a shower, laid down, and could not go to sleep. You know when I go to sleep? At 7, 8 o'clock,
in the morning.
and I gotta get ready for the game.
Yeah.
To get out there to go tailgate and go see my fellow Carolina people. And I didn't make it. I will make it up to y'all. We're gonna have to do something.
Well, a Vegas tailgate party though, is it kind of hot out there? How hot was it out there outside the stadium?
It was hot, but it was still doable.
It was doable. Okay, because
like I said, that Raider Stadium is awesome. Yeah, the Raiders I really got hooked up by getting that stadium.
Yeah, because I'd had to just go straight in the stadium. It would be too hot for me out there in September in Las Vegas to be out there tailgating. But to each their own. I'd be in the 72 degrees.
Latham in here said, do you guys think Bryce Young will get another shot in Carolina, or is he done there?
He will get another shot. I'm glad you brought this up, Latham.
Latham said he's better than Celeb Williams.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because my topic for today was going to be franchise quarterback compared to system quarterback. And so as far as Bryce Young goes, we all know about the trade to get him. They gave him, how many? Was it 3 first-round picks? A number 2 and
a number DJ, 2 next year. They still got a number 2
and a number 2 next year and DJ Moore.
Yeah.
You don't make that trade unless this is their franchise, start immediately, do everything to be done player. That's the only reason you would make a trade like that was you believe him to be elite.
Right.
Now, we all know about the fact that he didn't have weapons. We talked about this. He didn't have weapons. I felt he should have sat down. They did what they did. But the bottom line is that he should have done more last year, even with no weapons, just based on his eliteness alone. And I'm going to get into his, let me tell you guys, I'm going to get into his stats real quick. Last year, he threw for 2,877 yards, which doesn't sound that bad. 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Now, I'm going to compare him to Troy Aikman, who also was another system quarterback, 3-time Super Bowl champion on the Cowboys. Troy Aikman's first year, who also went 1-15, he threw for 1,749 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. Horrible. I mean, there's no other way to state. Troy Aikman's rookie year, he was horrible. He made Bryce Young's rookie year look good. The difference, though, was that
tell Carolina fans that
I'm telling them. The difference, though, was that Troy Aikman's second year, he stepped in and showed much better. He had almost 3,000 yards passing. He also had 11 touchdowns and less interceptions. He had 18 interceptions still. So interceptions was still a big problem for him. But they had Emmitt Smith and they had Michael Irvin.
Did they have that his first year also?
No, he didn't have Michael Irvin was drafted the year after. So Emmitt Smith, I think, was his rookie year as well with Aikman.
So they both were rookies that year.
Yeah.
So he had somebody to take the bruises with.
He had somebody to take
and learn with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And but then he also needed to have Michael Irvin as well. They had to build the offensive line. He's a system guy. So without the system, Troy Aikman was garbage. I mean, and there's no disrespect to him, but just honestly is that he's not
it's
somebody.
No disrespect because Troy Aikman is Troy Aikman.
Well, he's a Hall of Famer, but he was a Hall of Famer as a system quarterback. So you could make the Hall of Fame as a system quarterback.
Exactly.
It's just that you got to find the right system. So this is going to be the problem with Bryce Young now. He'll never find the right system in Carolina. He's going to need to do a Sam Darnold and go on and find some place that can bring him the talent that he needs. Because he can't win with marginal talent. Andy Dalton went out there with marginal talent and looked amazing. He looked every bit what Bryce Young was supposed to look like. But he did it because he is a quarterback who understands the system. Bryce Young right now is not. And he's not a franchise quarterback because a franchise quarterback would still go out there and make plays even if you don't have the talent.
Okay, now off of what you just said, unlike last season,
yes,
last season I will go for the marginal talent, which was just put together talent. Unlike Troy Aikman, still having Emmitt Smith as his running back.
Right.
When Bryce Young got to Carolina, he lost Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. He never got to play with them. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold had both of those weapons when they came to Carolina, and they still looked awful in Carolina. Is what I've been trying to explain to some of my.
Let's back it up. See, you give them misinformation. They didn't look terrible. They looked average. Carolina was average with Mayfield and Sam Darnold. They were 8-9, 7-10 when they had Mayfield and Darnold. So you can't say terrible. They were terrible with Bryce Young. They were average with Mayfield and Baker and Darnold.
I'll go for average with Sam Darnold. Well, Baker Mayfield, do you know how many games we won?
He only played 3 games.
Oh, thank you, Steve. How many games did Baker Mayfield win with Carolina?
Probably none.
Oh, okay, so that's terrible, Steve.
What's that? 3 games. You're going to put 3 games on him and say that?
Well, you putting 2 games on Bryce Young and saying the same thing.
No, I'm not.
Baker Mayfield had 3 games.
What's it talking about?
And Baker Mayfield had 3 games.
Okay.
Wait.
I
didn't whoa over you.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield had 3 games with Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. Bryce Young didn't have that.
Okay.
Bryce Young had a makeshift team.
Baker
Mayfield had a team. Wait a minute. Baker Mayfield had a team that had a culture, and he still couldn't win with them.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because you just proved my point. Thank you. Baker Mayfield is not a franchise quarterback. He's a system quarterback, and it's showing right now in Tampa. In the right system, Baker Mayfield looks like a whole better player than he did in Carolina and Cleveland. Thank you. You just proved my point.
I didn't prove.
You did because a system quarterback has to have the talent around him to win.
We don't know what type of quarterback Bryce Young.
We do know
because when Bryce Young
he's not a franchise quarterback. Because
Bryce Young he played with 2 different coaching systems.
Okay,
and one was different than the other. When Bryce Young was picked, Bryce Young did not pick himself. Carolina picked Bryce Young,
but he's not. But bottom line was he was not the franchise quarterback that he was drafted to be.
The draft capital that we gave up was for C.J. Stroud. At the last minute, they brought Bryce Young in.
Right.
At the last, so what you're saying with the capital that we gave up was for a plug and play person, which was C.J. Stroud, which we didn't get. We got Bryce Young, which was before he got
C.J. Stroud.
He got picked. Wait a minute, Steve. Before he got picked, Bryce Young is a work in progress. He is not the a quarterback.
Listen to what you just said. He's a work in progress. That's not a franchise quarterback. A franchise quarterback is never a work in progress. What are you saying?
But what I'm saying is
you're all over the place. No, is he a franchise quarterback or is he a work in progress?
What I'm saying is,
was Michael Jordan ever a work in progress? Was LeBron James ever a work in progress? What are you saying? If you're a work in progress, you're not a franchise player. Nobody ever questioned Jordan. Nobody ever questioned LeBron James' greatness. What are you saying? Peyton Manning, his rookie year, he was 2-14.
You're talking about basketball.
Peyton Manning, his rookie year, he threw for almost 4,000 yards and 26 touchdowns.
You said that Troy Aikman was worse than Bryce Young.
Troy Aikman is not a franchise quarterback. I just told you that he is a what? He is a system quarterback. Bryce Young is a system quarterback. Peyton Manning
you don't know what Bryce Young is yet.
What are you saying?
He hasn't played enough for you to know what he is yet.
Do you guys see the struggle that I deal with on the show? Do you see the struggle?
Well, the struggle.
You just said 2 minutes ago he's a work in progress. If you are a work in progress, you are never a franchise player. Name me one franchise player. Let me know when it's my turn. No, you don't deserve a turn because you just made a dumb comment and then I had to straighten you on it, and now you don't want to deal with it because. Name me one franchise player in the history of sports who was a work in progress. Name me one.
Well, okay, now go to my point was when Carolina went to make their pick, they were going for C.J. Stroud, which wasn't a work in progress. So we wouldn't have gave up this draft capital if we knew we were going for Bryce Young. We thought we were going for C.J. Stroud.
Oh my goodness.
So then when they put Bryce Young in there, when they put Bryce Young in there, he was a work in progress, and he needs to be mentored. He's not a person that's a plug and play. If he is a systematic quarterback, we don't know yet. He hasn't played enough for us to know what he is because he hasn't been able to flourish with what he's doing.
Is he a franchise quarterback, yes or no?
He's supposed to be.
Okay. Is he a franchise quarterback, yes or no?
He's supposed to be.
Is he a franchise quarterback, yes or no?
We don't know yet. He hasn't played enough.
He's played 18 games.
You're only making a guesstimation off of what you've seen so far.
He's played 18 games. What are you talking about?
And first of all, we drafted Andy Dalton to play the season that he came in. Bryce Young wasn't supposed to play. It was supposed to be Andy Dalton. He was supposed to learn then. He's doing now what he was supposed to do the first year he came in there.
A franchise quarterback does what he's done off the jump. I mean, I don't understand what you're saying. Did Michael Jordan ever come off the bench? Did Michael Jordan ever come off? Time out. Did Michael Jordan ever come off the bench? Did LeBron James ever come off the bench? Did Magic Johnson ever come off the bench? Did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ever come off the bench? I mean, great players.
I mean,
are great.
If I can't get a word in edgewise, you're only gonna hear yourself.
Well, go ahead, but you're not saying nothing. All you're saying, you're repeating the same thing over again, which nobody's believing in you. Bryce Young is not the player who they drafted.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying.
We were supposed to. But he's not a franchise quarterback. Stroud. Oh my God. C.J. Stroud is a franchise quarterback. From the second C.J. Stroud stepped on,
we gave up the draft capital that we did.
So C.J. Stroud,
because we thought that we were going to get him. We didn't get him. What I'm trying to explain to you was
you didn't get him because you didn't draft him. He was the number 2 quarterback. You could have drafted C.J. Stroud. What are you? You're acting. What's that? Time out. You're acting like. What's that? Time out. You're acting like the Panthers could not get C.J. Stroud. They chose to draft Bryce Young instead. What are you saying?
One person chose to draft him. The owner's wife, minutes before we made the pick. Okay. The owner's wife woke up that morning and said she wanted Bryce Young, and that's who we picked. Okay. I'm only making sense of why the draft capital that we gave away was given away because we were drafting a franchise quarterback.
But you didn't do.
Exactly.
You didn't draft him though.
Exactly. So you can't expect him to do what a franchise quarterback does.
Because you didn't draft.
No,
you didn't draft C.J. Stroud. If you drafted C.J. Stroud, he would have had a better season than Bryce Young because he's a better quarterback. I don't understand. You give C.J. Stroud the same talent that Bryce Young had, he would have had a better season.
No,
he's clearly better than Bryce Young. I mean,
we had Baker.
You're living off delusion.
We had Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. They didn't do when we had Christian McCaffrey, the top 1 to 5 running back, and DJ Moore. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. Baker Mayfield had both of those players, and he won no games.
They went again. Come on. They went 8-9 that season and was 1 game away from making the playoffs. I mean,
Sam
why
Darnold,
are you time out? Why are you delusional?
I said Baker Mayfield. Why are you talking about Sam Darnold when I'm talking about Baker Mayfield, who won no games with not marginalized talent like you were saying? He had real talent and he won nothing. He did nothing.
He played 3 games and he fired the coach. What are you saying?
Okay, Bryce Young came in. He went through 3 coaches. What are you talking about? So you're giving him a pass when he was on a whole nother franchise. He learned the game and he didn't do anything.
Who's giving Baker Mayfield a pass?
You did.
I never gave Baker.
Like he only played 3 games.
But okay, Baker Mayfield was taken out after 3 games because he didn't get the job done. Bryce Young should have been taken out after 3 games for not getting the job done.
I already agree with that.
Okay, but
already agree with that.
But the bottom line is nobody's calling Baker Mayfield a franchise quarterback. Nobody is. Nobody. You're sitting here saying that Bryce Young can still be a franchise quarterback, and I'm saying no. We've seen enough to say the only way Bryce Young is going to win. The only way Bryce Young is going to win in the NFL is if you give him all the elite talent to allow him to be able to flourish.
I don't believe that.
He is. But
you are able to believe what you want to believe.
It's not a matter of believing or want to believe. We've seen it.
No,
we've seen it.
We've also seen a player come in and he didn't do well
name me one.
Talent.
Name one. Name me one quarterback.
Name 2 already.
Go ahead, name me 2.
Name 2 already.
I didn't. Troy Aikman didn't win until the system built around him. Peyton Manning was putting up huge stats with less talent, going 1-15. He's a franchise quarterback. Peyton Manning, from the time Peyton Manning entered the NFL, he was an elite top 5 quarterback. There was never a time Peyton Manning was in the NFL that he was not considered top 5. That's a franchise quarterback.
Okay, Peyton Manning is a franchise quarterback. You just call Troy Aikman wasn't a franchise quarterback.
He wasn't.
People will argue with you about that.
They can't argue. The statistics speak for themselves. Troy Aikman has a gold. Troy Aikman never.
How many Super Bowls?
Okay, let's repeat again. In that system, he had the elite offensive line. He had Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer. He had Michael Irvin, Hall of Famer. With that, he was able to win. You never put the game on Troy Aikman to win it by himself. He had to have the elite talent around him.
Bryce Young
Peyton Manning,
time out.
Peyton Manning won in Indy.
You keep saying time
he
out.
won in Denver.
It has to be when you say something, then it's my turn.
Please say what are you going to argue? What's your argument?
You're all over the place right now.
I'm not all over the place.
What is there to argue? I've already explained.
You're comparing Bryce Young to Peyton Manning. It's crazy.
You brought Peyton Manning up. I was talking about.
I'm giving you a franchise quarterback.
I was talking about Peyton Manning, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. You're the only one that brought Peyton Manning up
because he's a franchise quarterback. You're talking about system quarterbacks.
Bryce Young.
He's a system quarterback.
You're guessing he's a system quarterback.
I'm not guessing it. We've seen it.
You haven't seen.
We have seen it. We've seen enough. We've seen enough to know he's not going to win unless he has a talent around him.
Okay, we're going to move on because Steve is stuck.
Because no, I'm not stuck on anything. You're delusional at this point. Well, I mean, your Carolina fandom has caused you delusion. Because if you would have put Bryce Young in the same category as Troy Aikman, as Peyton Manning, then at that point you're delusional.
You already said Bryce Young.
I said he's lesser.
Already see. Once again, you're doing it again. You've already said that Bryce Young did better than Troy Aikman his first year. You said it, not me.
I just said.
So you made my point right there.
What's your point?
That he's progressing just fine.
He might turn
this season
at his best.
This season, off your own words, this season he only played 2 games. He got taken out. Off your own words.
He was horrible. He was horrible.
Off your own words, Baker Mayfield played 3 games. He was horrible. You like, but they took him out.
And they took him out.
Yeah, he didn't give him enough. They didn't give him enough chance, right?
And okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning of the argument.
You're not the beginning.
The beginning of the argument was
time out, but you're not listening.
Because let's go back to the beginning of the argument because you now just totally messed up the argument. I said that Bryce Young may need to go someplace else to become a star quarterback. And that was the initial start of the conversation.
And I said no.
You said no.
No.
And I've tried to put you keep bringing up
You're trying to
Baker Mayfield
off of last season when you can't prove to me off of last season because of the team. You can't prove to me off of last season.
Baker Mayfield was the first quarterback taken in the draft. He was the first pick of the draft. He had to go to 2 different organizations to find the one that labeled him to be the player that he is now.
Exactly.
Bryce Young has shown that without the right talent around him, he is not an elite quarterback.
Anybody
he may need to go someplace
in that offense.
He may need to go someplace.
Anybody would have failed.
You guys will never. Okay, with your owner, you're never going to get the talent needed to. Your history speaks for itself.
Now, once again, this owner hasn't been here that long for you to say.
But he's done a horrible job. Yeah, I agree. So are you going to expect him now?
But once again, you're talking for the future of something you don't know.
Okay, what's that about?
You're still talking about something you don't know.
Once again,
for the future.
That's how everybody does. That's how you do anything. You have to assume.
And I can disagree.
You can disagree with it.
Exactly.
But I'm just telling you.
Exactly.
You
just told me I can disagree.
You can disagree all you want.
Exactly.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready for the picks this week?
I'm ready for the picks.
Right.
Do you know Daniel Walsh?
I'm going to prove him wrong again. No. How you doing, Daniel? What's Dan got to say?
He says, where do you guys reckon the Falcons need to clean up their defense to look solid?
Kirk Cousins. Hello.
And see, once again,
he asked a question. I'm answered it.
But once again, this man hates Kirk Cousins. It doesn't matter how good Kirk
12 years, it speaks for itself. Kirk Cousins has 1 playoff win in 12 seasons. I mean, how many seasons do you need to play for it to speak for itself?
Steve, he's talking about this season where Kirk Cousins has only lost 1 game. He's talking about this season. Okay. He's not talking about the other 12 seasons, Steve.
He's asked a question.
But he's talking about the Falcons.
I'm giving you an answer.
Kirk Cousins only been on the Falcons for 3 games, Steve.
But they're not going to win with Kirk Cousins.
He's only been with 3 games, and they're winning, Steve. That's wrong.
Winning what? They're 1-2.
They're winning, Steve.
Winning what? They're 1-2. What is winning to you?
It's I only did that because you said the 49ers are fine. They're 1-2 also.
The 49ers are not fine. They got injuries. I mean, you're confused. The 49ers would not be 1-2 and McCaffrey and Debo were not out. They would have killed the Rams if they didn't have McCaffrey out and Debo out. I mean, let's not compare injuries to play on the field.
The 49ers had
you
Puka and Cooper Kupp out.
And then what?
So what do you injuries? The Falcons.
Okay.
The what are you talking about? The Falcons. The Rams had
what?
their two star wide receivers out.
You're comparing McCaffrey and Debo to Nakua and Kupp? No.
They're 1-2.
They're not 1-2. But McCaffrey is the best running back in the league.
Puka is not the number one, and Kupp is not the number 2.
No, they're solid wide receivers. They're good wide receivers, but they're not elite wide receivers. McCaffrey is a game changer. He's always been a game changer.
So without McCaffrey, the 49ers are just going to lose, right?
Well, they'll be okay. They'll win some, they'll lose some. They're not going to be the team with him. With McCaffrey all season, we saw what the 49ers can do when they have McCaffrey healthy all season. This season, he's been out for 3 games, and they're what? 1-2. I mean, I don't understand your argument. I mean, the 49ers last year were on point. They had like one bad game, I think, against the Browns. But for the most part, every game last season, the 49ers were on point. This season, McCaffrey's out for 3 games. They're 1-2.
Oh, so it does mean personnel can change?
Of course, personnel. That's my whole point. You got to have the personnel to win if you're not elite.
Bryce Young didn't have the personnel last season.
I repeat again.
But now you don't understand. You understand about personnel.
I like Bryce Young, and I want Bryce Young to do well.
I'm just going to what you're
saying. I'm
just
telling you that he's not.
And what you're talking about, because when it comes to personnel, we talk about the 49ers. The 49ers, even though being only winning one game out of 3 games.
Who's the ultimate system quarterback?
You're still talking about system. We're talking about personnel. You just explained that with the 49ers, if Christian McCaffrey's there, then they're going to be everything,
because he's a franchise type player. I mean, what are you confused about? I understand what your confusion is.
No, well,
the 49ers quarterback is a system quarterback.
You asked me a question. Do you want me to answer your question?
Answer it, please.
Once I'm okay, with the Carolina Panthers with Bryce Young, if Bryce Young doesn't have the right players, then he's not succeeding.
Okay.
Last season with Adam Thielen, Bryce Young was just fine with passing the ball to Adam Thielen.
They went 2-14.
Exactly.
2-15. I'm sorry, 2-15. What are you talking about? They were just fine.
Well,
they weren't just fine. They were 2-15.
It's called progression, Steve.
They were 2-15. They were not doing fine.
Troy Aikman.
Okay. I'm gonna end this argument right now. Last year, you and I both thought Kansas City had no chance to win the Super Bowl because of the talent around Mahomes. What did Mahomes do? He took mediocre talent other than Kelsey. He had Kelsey, he had a rookie Rice, and mediocre talent, and won the Super Bowl. That's what franchise quarterbacks do. Mahomes, nobody questions. How many years has Mahomes
been in the league?
It don't matter how many years he's been in the league.
It does.
Since the start.
It really does.
Come on. Mahomes won a Super Bowl his second year.
All right.
Mahomes has been a superstar ever since he got a chance to start.
What you're forgetting, Steve? Yes. What you don't understand. Let me break it down to layman's terms.
Break it down.
When people have children, some kids will learn from
some kids are great.
Yeah. Some kids will learn from getting disciplined by being punished not to go outside.
Okay.
Some kids need to will understand from getting punished by maybe not getting dinner before they go to bed.
Okay.
It's different. Now, when it comes to quarterbacks, some quarterbacks need progression and they need to be mentored. And some quarterbacks are plug and play.
I'm glad you said that.
CJ Stroud is a plug and play quarterback.
So he's a franchise quarterback, is what you're saying. He's a franchise. A plug and play means he's a franchise quarterback.
Wait a minute. Wait.
You just said plug and play. That means he's a franchise quarterback.
No, it doesn't mean that, because it could turn into something else. What's the Browns quarterback name?
Deshaun Watson?
Everybody thought he was a franchise quarterback also. It seems like he's a system quarterback also now. But you can think one thing and it can turn out to be something else.
Right.
Exactly what I'm
So-
saying.
so-
But
so
now
what's
you
that?
understand that. But right now,
okay.
this is only Bryce Young's
So what's
second
that?
year, and you're trying to put a label on him, and you don't get it.
Okay,
Thank you, Charles. Go Panthers.
Okay, once again, his play on the field has made him now into assistant quarterback. Deshaun Watson, I'm speaking about. You just said it right there.
Now he's changed.
Well, because of his play.
Well, that's all I wanted to prove a point.
But it's not
like
proving the point, though.
It is proving the point because you put a label on somebody. They put a label on Deshaun Watson. We found out now it's not that what you're talking about.
No.
At first he was a franchise quarterback, and now he's supposed to be system. Because now he's trash.
Time out. And Deshaun Watson, he had an elite defense in the Texans. Elite. At that time, J.J. Watt was
once again.
superstar.
You're talking about personnel again.
Okay, but that's what it comes down to.
Thank you.
You.
So it's not on that person; it's on the personnel. So now you're switching it up.
I'm not switching it up.
This is where the divide had came in. Because we're
I'm
talking
not
about
switching it up. I'm telling you, you just proved the point again. With elite talent, he looked like a franchise quarterback. When he didn't have that elite talent, now he looks mediocre. I mean, you just proved the point again.
No, I didn't.
You keep proving the same point. A franchise quarterback wins whether they have elite talent or not. He's not a franchise quarterback, obviously, because right now he's not playing like one.
He had a makeshift team. In this team, I can go for what you're saying for the first two games because the players on this team don't look like
a healthy team. Nick Chubb might make things different. Right now, they don't have. I can
go
Nick
for
Chubb.
What you're saying for the first two games. What I'm saying is, I don't think that it's going to stay like that. And to Bryce Young's question, once a franchise QB is benched, they have to start over somewhere else. It's always been that way. Bryce Young would never trust the organization again. It's a wrap.
Thank you. Whoever said that, whoever said that, thank you. That's all the point I'm trying to make.
That's the Eagles fan, Latham Hilliard.
Latham is on point. Thank you, Latham. That's the whole point. He needs to go on somewhere else because at this point, he's not going to ever, anything he does will be criticized.
I get what you're saying.
He has a bad game. He has a bad game. Everybody's going to be like, put Andy Dalton back in. When
a franchise has been doing horrible, like Carolina Panthers, like the Clippers of old, people always be like that.
The Clippers now? You bring up the Clippers with franchise?
Because the Clippers of old always used to lose.
And it
has nothing to do with being the Clippers, Steve. It has to do with they had a losing franchise that just kept losing no matter what. Had nothing to do with the Clippers, so stop that. It had to do with them being a losing team. That's the only reason I brought them up. And so people will always blame the players when the team is losing.
I'm not blaming the players.
But it's strange that nobody's blaming Will Levis over there, and he's not winning.
Can I say something? What's it talking about? First of all, I'm not blaming Bryce Young at all. I never blamed Bryce Young. You're the one saying I'm blaming him.
Shout out to Bill Gladney. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On Facebook.
But thank you. This is gonna be an argument for another day because this is one that really gets to both of us because we've been going on this ever since the trade took place. For those who don't know, when they made the trade, I said it was a stupid trade, and Packard was sitting there saying, "Oh, it's a great trade. Whoever they get is going to be a franchise."
I said, "What was a great trade?"
The trade the Panthers made to get that first round pick. I said when the trade first went down, and this was before they even decided on Stroud or Young. I said it was a horrible trade either way, and you were defending the trade, and I said you don't give up that much for any quarterback.
We're going to go back to some of this film.
We're going to go back to the film.
We got to go.
You can have it on film. I stated when the trade happened, I said it's a horrible trade. The only way it could work is if whoever that quarterback is amazing from the start. That's the only way that trade could work, and it's been proven now that trade was a bad trade.
It's been proven that the organization did a bad thing. They had a team, and they gave the team away and then went and got a quarterback and expected him to succeed with a makeshift team.
Right.
And what you're saying, I get it. Because I've been having the same this same argument with Carolina fans on my blog, and a lot of them, they're going to love the stuff that you're saying because
they should.
They've been calling me delusional also.
As they should. Because if y'all had DJ Moore last year, you might have been 5-11 or a 6-10.
That is not Bryce Young's fault.
But again, that's why I said that trade was such a horrible trade because you traded away your number one wide receiver. to give this new quarterback no weapons. Anna Thielen, as I mentioned all throughout last season, is a great number 2. He's not a number 1.
I am not arguing that fact.
If you had
And
DJ
this
Moore
season,
with Thielen,
I think we have the team.
right? Well, we saw
have the team.
We saw in Vegas that with Andy Dalton as quarterback, he was it. DeAndre Johnson was unheard of the first 2 games. DeAndre Johnson had a breakout third game because you had a quarterback who's willing to throw the ball to him.
Exactly. We have a quarterback whose psyche is not shot.
Agree.
We
agree on that.
I'm not disproving none of that.
All right,
I agree with that.
Let's get to these picks because
we got to get the picks. So we don't went over.
We went way over, but this was one that we would love to have heard from you guys because I'm losing something.
Let me see.
Yeah, because I'm losing something here. Yeah, because I just want to understand.
I know. I get you. You want somebody to understand your point.
What a franchise quarterback is compared to a system quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, and let me say, I'm going to say something first of all. There's nothing wrong with being a system quarterback if you're successful.
Nothing wrong with being a system
quarterback.
Troy
Aikman is a Hall of Famer off of being a system quarterback.
Nothing wrong with being
that's
a system
great.
quarterback.
That's
great. I just want somebody
to
understand that some people can come in and then they can think that
Terry Bradshaw is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
You see?
Go ahead.
You see, once again.
Go ahead.
Once again.
Go ahead, please.
Well, you can think that they're a franchise quarterback, and they look like a franchise quarterback for 3 years. Then they switch over, and then we find out they're a system quarterback.
Agree.
That's the only exactly. But you're trying to say
but you can't go the other way.
He's only been in the league 1 year.
Okay, so time out.
1 year.
You can go from a franchise quarterback to a system, but you can't go from a system to a franchise. That's the whole point I've been trying to make. Thank you for proving my point. Thank you.
I didn't prove your point.
Name me one quarterback who was a system quarterback who became
I did not prove your point.
So name me one quarterback in the history of the NFL who went from being a system quarterback to being a franchise quarterback. Name me one.
Lathan, could you say that Steve is right? Because Steve is hot at me right now. And
I'm
not
hot.
Listening.
I'm hot.
He's on fire. I can feel the heat coming from his body.
Because he can't answer. He doesn't answer any questions. He just sits there and stuck in his Carolina
no, I'm not
wisdom.
I'm not stuck in my Carolina wisdom.
I've asked you to name me.
You keep switching when and somebody you don't like.
Right. I like Bryce. Come on. I like Bryce Young. That's the whole point.
It doesn't sound like it.
I like Bryce Young.
It doesn't sound like
I like him better though in a different organization. That's been my whole argument. He'd be better off in some place where he can have.
Carolina has been a bad organization for about 5-6 years.
So why would you hold on to him if you're not going to give him the talent that he needs?
We have to hold on to him because we have to do it different than we did Cam Newton. We have to hold on to him so we can get some more draft capital back. If we let him go the way you want to let him go, we're not going to get any draft capital back because they're not going to give us nothing for what they've seen. We're going to get like a 5th round and a 4th round pick.
Okay. I'm glad you just brought him up. Cam Newton. Thank you. Thank you for bringing him up. I didn't even want to go there with you, but since you did bring him up.
When did I say Cam Newton?
You just said him.
No, I didn't. What did I say?
You just said for Cam Newton. But who talking about?
What did I say, Cam? What did I say, Steve?
You just mentioned Cam Newton, did you not?
Let's do these picks.
No.
Let's do these picks.
Before we get to the picks. Cam Newton.
We start 19 minutes, so we got to get to these picks,
okay.
Steve.
Cam Newton was a franchise quarterback. From the second Cam Newton stepped in Carolina, and he started game 1, he threw 2 touchdowns, including an 80-yarder to Steve Smith, his first game in Carolina. He was a franchise quarterback from day 1. Now, the things outside of him, whatever happened, but he always was the best player on Carolina. That's a franchise quarterback. Thank you. All right, picks. Cowboys, Giants.
I'm taking the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys too. All right, who we got?
Saints and the Falcons.
Saints.
I'm gonna take the Saints too.
Okay, thank you.
I still don't think you're right,
no,
but Bengals and the Panthers. You know I'm taking Carolina.
I know you
and
are. And then I'm taking the Bengals.
Oh, so you mad at me?
No, I'm not mad at you. I said the Bengals have to win this game. I mean, this is their season.
But they're not.
If they lose the game, the season's over for them.
But they're not.
So they should have beat the Commanders, but it just took a Superman effort for them to win. They're going to beat the Panthers. But let me. I still like Andy Dalton. I still think they're going to play a good game, but just they're not going to win the game.
They said he was hurt. Did you hear what was going on with him?
With who, Andy Dalton?
Yeah. I was looking at some of the blogs. I just got, you know, he appeared on the injury.
He might have an injury, but Andy Dalton's going to play. Andy Dalton's played hurt his whole career. So if he can walk, he's going to play.
And if you guys are tuning in, please like, subscribe, and share. Please subscribe.
We got
and
a
share.
little hot this night.
Go through this and tell me that I'm right and tell Stevie's wrong.
Yeah.
In the comments, please.
Thank you. And when you do tell me I'm right, give him example, because he needs to have examples to understand.
Yeah, I need some examples.
He needs examples to understand what a difference between a franchise player is to a system player, because there's a big difference between the two.
Hey,
well, he just mentioned Cam Newton as the example.
I'm just gonna say, he said Cam Newton was the man. Cam Newton was the man from beginning to end.
Beginning to end, day one.
They thought the same thing with Deshaun Watson.
They thought the same thing.
And he played in Texas for how many, like 3 or 4 years? And then when
he got hurt. What's that? And he got hurt. We don't know yet the knee injury that Deshaun Watson had. He don't look the same.
He got hurt from the massages?
Well, it could be the massages. Whatever happened to him, he's not the same guy. He's slow now. When he was with the Texans, he was mobile. He was a running quarterback who could throw the ball. Now he's just it's like he's standing still. I don't know what happened to him.
The Rams go to Chicago to play the Bears.
I'm
taking the Rams.
If Kupp and Nakua aren't playing in Chicago, I'm gonna take the Bears with the upset. They don't look like the same team, even though they did pull out the 49er game.
Bears?
I just think the Bears have more talent now.
The Rams just beat the 49ers.
But the 49ers, we just had this conversation.
The 49ers got a defense.
49, but they didn't
the 49ers defense is way better than the Bears defense.
Okay, read again. The Bears have more weapons.
Okay.
That's
I'm taking the Rams. You taking the Bears.
Okay, and it's in Chicago.
Okay, Vikings at the Packers.
This was a tough
We're gonna
one.
bring that game game up next week.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
I'm taking the Vikings.
Jordan Love might be back.
I don't care. I'm still taking the Vikings.
As much as I like Sam Darnold and
believe in Sam,
I'm a believe in Jordan Love. He's going to play, so I'm taking the Packers.
Trust in Sam.
Okay.
Jaguars at the Texans. Trevor Lawrence can't go 4 games, Steve. So are you going to pick him because Trevor Lawrence can't go 4 games?
Yeah, but the difference though is Trevor Lawrence is playing horrible. He's playing horrible. The Titans are at least playing some. The games in Tennessee.
I'm taking the Texans.
I'll take the Titans too. I'll take the Titans.
Texans.
Is Texans or I'm sorry, the Jags. Texans. I think you said Titans. Sorry. Oh, I'm taking the Texans all the way.
No, okay.
I mean, that's crazy.
Pittsburgh goes in to play the Colts. Indianapolis.
In Indy, Steelers look really good. I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers also. Broncos go down there to play the Jets in New York.
God, the Broncos looked so strong last week that they're gonna have a tanker this week. So I'm gonna take the Jets, even though I don't. I can still take Aaron Rodgers, even though I don't like him. I understand.
Hey, he's come a long way on that.
I understand that he is a franchise quarterback.
He's come a long way. I will go with that.
And Aaron Rodgers is a franchise quarterback. When he's on the field, he's the best player on their team. That's a franchise. Okay, go ahead.
And this should be a good game. Eagles versus the Bucks.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Bucks had a stinker last week. It's in Tampa.
Yep, it's in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but the Eagles are feeling the heat from the Commanders coming up. I got the Eagles winning. Okay,
Ooh.
the Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Eagles fly, yeah.
I'm taking the Eagles also.
Yeah.
I don't. Tampa Bay, the game that they had against Bo Nix, they made Bo Nix look great.
They made him look great. And you can't do that at home. When you're playing at home, you're not supposed to let a rookie outshine you. So,
and this was one of my for sure picks on my betting card when I was in Vegas.
This
card killed all my cards,
and it killed my survivor pool. So I'm not taking the Bucks. I got the Eagles.
I want somebody to get beat up on that.
Exactly. Yeah, that was just made no sense at all.
Washington goes down there to play the Cardinals.
Well, you know who
in Arizona.
This is going to be a good game because you got two elite running quarterbacks in Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray. This game is a toss-up, but I'm going to take the Commanders with the upset.
Hey, I'm taking Washington all the way. Like I said, I love the way that young guy was down there and the way he looked. It just looks so
he looks so natural.
Smooth, man. It's like he's been there forever.
Yeah,
he gives me the same feeling that Patrick Mahomes gives me when he's on the field.
Right.
Like he's well put together and he's in control.
And can play with anyone. It doesn't matter who his talents around him. He's going to get them the ball. So I got Commanders too.
And then the Patriots go down there to San Francisco. Now, you Patriots fans, I need you all to be safe when you go there to San Francisco because
we can both vouch for
the
that.
49ers are going to beat you, and they're going to beat you guys bad. And once they beat you, they're going to might want to push you around a little bit when you walk into your car.
The walk of shame. You got to make sure you know where your car in the parking lot is. Make sure you go ahead and have a straight shot to it. And yeah, they're brutal. So Niners all the way. Yeah.
And then the 3-0 Chiefs come to LA. Just to go see Patrick Mahomes, I might want to go to that game just to see.
Yeah, but Herbert's hurt again. It looks like
Hubbard was hurt before the season started. Everybody so what do? Do they put the next man up or what? Or
they had no choice. I mean, they thought that he was going to come back this year and have a bounce back year, but it looks like it might be up and down for the Chargers. So I don't see any way the Chiefs lose in LA. Mahomes always just finds a way to get the job done. So Chiefs all the way.
I'm not going against the Chiefs.
I'm not going against the Chiefs. We've learned our lesson.
Well-learned lesson.
Yes.
Browns going there to Las Vegas, where I was just at. Where Carolina did their thing to play the Raiders.
Like I said, we just spent all this time bad mouthing Deshaun Watson and the Browns and blah blah blah. But man, the Raiders got a lot of issues too. They got defensive issues. They got issues at the quarterback spot now. Who's going to start for them? Is it going to be O'Connell? Is it going to be Gardner Minshew? Can we flip a coin? You got a coin? This is the old flip a coin game.
I don't have no coin on me right now. Yeah. But I like the Raiders. The Raiders did what they did, but it's I think it's a lot of accountability over there, and
don't bet on this game. We tell you, do not bet on this game.
Hey,
this is one of those that it'll ruin your parlay if you try to put this game in there because this game could be won by either team. So I got Raiders too. If you got two bad teams, go with the home team. So that's the old rules. The Raiders,
and especially y'all better be careful out there because they're
gonna be angry, and they're gonna be angry from last week.
But you're gonna have a nice time in the stadium.
Oh, it's a beautiful stadium, but they're gonna be angry this week. So Browns fans, don't talk too much smack to them.
And a game that's justly a justified game for being the late game that we're gonna have fun watching. The Bills go down there to Baltimore to play the Ravens.
Yes, this could be I won't say an AFC Championship game because somehow the Chiefs will find their way back in the AFC Championship, but this could be a game, definitely a playoff matchup. So it depends on what Ravens team shows up. Now, if it's a Ravens team that played the first half against the Cowboys, I got the Ravens all the way. But if it's the Ravens team that played the first two games of the season and Lamar Jackson wants to try to outrun, what's his name, Josh Allen, I got the Bills. So I'm assuming they learned their lesson with Henry.
He gave us a speech. He's going. I know. He's going in.
I'm going in. The 3-0 Bills will be 3-1 after the season. I got the Ravens beating the Bills.
And I'm sticking with you, Josh. Do your thing, boy. I'm sticking with the Buffalo Bills.
This was a hard one too. I know. Listen, I would take the Bills too. If it was in Buffalo, I would take the Bills. But I think in Baltimore and in a Sunday night game, I think they're gonna be smart and get the ball to Derrick Henry.
I'm picking with my heart.
Yeah, pick with your heart.
And my heart tell me that Josh is gonna do his thing.
Okay.
Cook is gonna run all over the field, and Lamar Jackson gonna try to do too much in this game, and it's gonna make it easy because Josh is gonna be able to spread that ball all around the field.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I agree with you on that. Like I said, this is one of those that next week we're gonna talk back. I might be cursing out the Ravens again for going back and playing hero ball, but I just think that this week they're gonna give the ball to Henry.
And we go to a real coin flip game.
Yeah, we got two.
A real coin flip.
A stinker and a good one.
The stinker, the Titans at the Dolphins.
Oh, my goodness. I won't be watching. I may put in 5 minutes of this game. I ain't going to lie to you. This game might get 5 minutes of my time.
I got to see, because Tyreek Hill was my first pick on a couple fantasy teams. And without Tua, it's just been killing me, man. It's been killing me.
I didn't take Tyreek Hill at all. I just didn't have confidence that Tua was going to be able to get through the season. It's just those concussions are just.
But you picked Christian McCaffrey though, didn't you? In some of your leagues.
Yeah, but McCaffrey don't have the history of the concussions that that Tua does.
But he has the history of missing.
He has a history of missing games,
He
but
has a
not
history
concussion.
His car be broke down a lot.
Right. His car is broken down, but there's one thing about having your car broken down or your transmission has totally gone to the blink. You know what I'm saying? You can fix your car, but when your transmission goes, it's done. It's a wrap. You got to go ahead and get a new car.
When in doubt, I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Home team.
You know, son, I didn't like anything I saw from Skylar. What's his name? Skylar Thompson, whatever his name is. I'm going to take the Titans in this one just because I have more faith in Will Nevis than I do in Skylar Thompson.
Well, I'm going with the home field advantage because, you know, the Dolphins field is a strange field.
It's a strange field.
They put all the visitors in the sun.
Yes.
And on their side, they're in the shade.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how they have it done because I sat there and you sit there and you will boil. Well, and they got to turn them fans on. And it's Miami.
Yeah, it's Miami, yeah. But the one good thing, though, this is a night game, so it don't matter. It's going to be sticky.
It's 4:30.
It's going to be 7:30 at their time.
It's still going to
be
kind
it's going to be sticky.
Humid out.
It's going to be humid and sticky. So I've done a Dolphins game before too, and it's nothing nice on those days.
We're going to see what time the sun set out there.
Sunset, yeah, yeah.
And then the last game, but not least,
a real game: Seahawks versus the Lions.
I think this is the game I'm going to be watching on Monday.
Oh, this game I would definitely be watching. So, God, who you want? I got Detroit at home. I mean, it's got to be Detroit at home.
I'm going with the Seahawks. You know what?
You want the Seahawks on the road?
Let me make sure I went with the Seahawks because
I was going to say,
you know,
I don't know. I got the
Seahawks just been they've been on my mind. They've been on my mind. They 3-0, man.
I know, but
they 3-0.
If the game was in Seattle, I would take Seahawks possibly, but in Detroit, I think Detroit, the crowd. I mean, a Monday Night Football game in Detroit, that crowd's going to be hyped up.
You know what? I'm gonna take that. I'm going with Detroit.
Yeah, go with Detroit.
I'll pick my picks. I'll pick Detroit.
Yeah, you gotta go with Detroit.
I'm going with Detroit.
I like Seattle.
I did my homework. Yeah. And that's why I had to go to the blueprint and see what I went.
Yeah, on the road, no. If it was at Seattle, I would consider it, but no, not in Detroit.
And we thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah. Please like, subscribe, and share. Let us go through some of these. Charles said Green Bay defense.
Okay, Green Bay.
Lathan said, I see Barkley running all over the Bucks.
Yeah, I can see that.
Lathan also said Deshaun pulled off his biggest heist in NFL history. He should go to the bank with the ski mask on when he goes to the ATM.
$230 million guaranteed.
And he said he should go to the bank with a ski mask on.
$230 million guaranteed. All guaranteed.
And shout out to Charles Tongue. He's going with the Bills with me also. He's against you.
Like I told you guys, this is the game where I'm just going based off of at Baltimore, they're going to give a lot of Derrick Henry, and that's going to be the key to the win. That's all I'm going off of. I think the Bills can win for sure, but I just think at home, Baltimore will find a way.
And on Facebook, shout out to Ronald Tyson and
thank you, Ronald.
Alejandro Baleares. Please, you guys.
Where are our Cowboy fans? Did any of our Cowboy fans reach out this week?
I think Ronald's a Cowboy fan. I got to go look at his picture.
Yeah.
But, hey, on our Facebook, our Blow the Whistle page, please, next week we're going to be on our page. We're not going to be on my personal page.
Yes.
So please, if you're not subscribed, go to YouTube and subscribe. We need all our subscribers there on YouTube.
Right.
If you're not subscribed on Facebook, please subscribe there because next week we will be off my personal page and we have enough subscribers for us to go live on our Blow the Whistle page on Facebook.
We're looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong. We loved your page. We loved your home field advantage, but now it's time for us to get to the big league. So
we see y'all next week.
Peace out.